Hey, where is Spider-Man's webpage? It's on the World Wide Web. Hey, what's up, comic book reading universe? It is I, Steven Savelli, once again representing hashtag NerdSwag, and I am here today to bring to you the staple stash for comics that were released on April 30th, 2014. Yeah, it's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, Revenge of the 5th, the day after May the 4th be with you. I'm super late doing my comic book reviews, having a great time with my fiance down here in Southern California, hanging out at the beach, going to Universal Studios, hanging out at the Griffith Park Observatory. Anyways, enough about me. I've been busy. I apologize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really quick, fast version of my staple stash to make sure I don't skip this week in comics, because there are some great ones that I know you should read. If you like this video, make sure to like it down below and then click up here on the logo to subscribe to the channel. Other than that, you can find these dumb links down here to catch up with us and see other avenues where we post things. Anyway, with all that said, we have 7 comics to review today, so let's jump through it and do the express version of the staple stash. Book number 1 that we're going to read is from DC Comics, and that is Batman Eternal. This is number 4. This has the story still, of course, by James Tynion and James Tynion IV and Scott Snyder. But this particular book has a script by John Layman with penciling by Dustin Nguyen. This is the first Batman Eternal book that I have not really cared for too much. I think the art here by Dustin is very blotchy and not detailed. And what really bothers me about this book is the characters look different than they have in the first 3 issues. I had to flip back and forth real quick when we get to a scene with Jason Bard with the new commissioner of Gotham. I couldn't tell it was Jason Bard, the new character they're introducing in Batman Eternal. I thought it was somebody else, but his hair is different, and his whole just face is different. So, anyways, a little complaint about the art. Real blotchy. There's a panel here where Batman looks fat. I don't know. Didn't really care for the art in this, but the story was still pretty good. We're still moving along with the takeover of takeover of Gotham and the gang wars in Gotham. What's cool about this is we have Barbara Gordon as Batgirl going crazy and attacking Pig's henchmen, because that's the only people she knows that's somewhat responsible for her father being arrested. And then Batman stops her. They go to the Batcave. She does some research and tries to figure out who it was that framed her dad. And basically that's where this story goes in this. There's a scene where Batman goes and confronts Carmine Falcone. And once again, I didn't know it was Falcone because he looks totally different than all the other books. I didn't know it was him until Batman said, "I'm here to talk to you, Falcone. I want to talk, Falcone. Your men didn't want to let me in." And I was like, oh, okay. Now I know who Batman's talking to. It's Carmine Falcone. But he looks drastically different than the other books. So this is a weekly comic. What's that mean? Well, it means that the same artists and same writers can't do every single book, because that would literally be impossible. And if it was possible, they wouldn't be good. So they have to have stand-ins for art and writing. This one had both, and it was all right. I'm going to give the writing on this a 7 out of 10. I did like the story building. I did like the progression here of Bruce's new sidekick, who we're going to get hopefully in the next few issues. But like I said, the art, I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. Very square and blocky, not consistent with the rest of the title. Yeah, that's Batman Eternal number 4. All right, that's it with DC this week. We're going to review a comic from Image. Now, this is Southern Bastards number 1. This is written by Jason Aaron with art by Jason Latour. As people that have been watching my channel and watching my stable stashes, Jason Aaron is my favorite writer out right now. He's writing Thor: God of Thunder. He's written Wolverine and the X-Men, and he's just written some stuff that I'm in love with. He's writing the Original Sin, giant summer blockbuster story of Marvel. Well, here he has his self-owned title, Southern Bastards. This isn't a superhero story. This is a story of people in the South. No mysticalism, no supernatural, anything. We follow the story of Earl here. I believe that's his name. Yep. Sorry, I read this 5 days ago. We have a story of Earl here, and what he does is he's an old man who grew up in Alabama, and he left his town to go live in Birmingham. He comes back as an older gentleman. I don't know his age, but he looks in his 60s or 70s. He comes back to his town to clean up some family business. And when he comes back into town to clean up this family business, he finds out that where he grew up, the town has been corrupted and there's evil dwelling in this town. He goes and saves somebody that he knew from high school, and by saving this person who was about to get beat up, he has put himself right in the middle of the crime and corruption of this town, and he is now going against presumably the gang and the gang boss in this city. Now let me say what town this is. He's in Craw County. That's right. So he's in Craw County, and there's a guy named the Boss, and the boss's name is on, that's the name, Boss. Boss's name is on, like, Boss's Barbecue, Boss's Hardware, Boss's Corner Store. So this name Boss, who seems to be taking over the whole town. We don't see him in this comic, but he's basically probably the guy running the town. It seems like there may be drugs involved. There might be a lot of money involved. And definitely some activity that is not with the law. So we'll see what happens with this book. I'm trying to do the quickest review as possible. This is fantastic writing. From start to finish, Jason Aaron really does a wonderful job depicting the South and depicting their characters. It makes sense. Jason Aaron in the back, he has a letter page where he says, I was born in Alabama, so in a town called Jasper. So he knows what he's writing about. He knows these characters. There's introduction of like football and barbecue and a bar and stuff. I'm not from the South. I was really raised in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State of the United States, and now I live in Southern California, and I know nothing of the South, never visited, but from what I know, like I said, which isn't much, this seems to be right on. I'm going to give the writing on Southern Bastards a 9.8 out of 10. Heck, I'm in a good mood. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, and I'm going to give the art by Jason Latour an 8 out of 10. This Image comic is wonderful. It's a great break for me from the superhero realm. I've been reading a lot more independent books lately, and Image has been releasing some good ones. So yeah, Southern Bastards, #1, really good. The other Image comic I'm loving is also not a superhero book, and this is Deadly Class #4. This is written by Rick Remender with art by Wes Craig. Now this comic is for sure a mature comic. From start to finish in #4, there are heavy drugs involved. So if you are a parent, if you are a young teen, this might not be a comic that you should be reading, so I'm going to be careful with what I say. But if you are an adult and you like mature comics, mature reading, I would definitely pick up Deadly Class. This comic is one of my faves as well. Rick Remender is really doing an awesome job. It follows a kid, Marcus, who's going to a school to be an assassin. Now, last issue, number 3, he killed a homeless man. And this issue starts with him being in solitary confinement from his school because they don't believe it was right for him to kill the homeless man. Anyway, his homies break him out of being in the little dark room that they stuck him in with no lights and anything. Basically, they stuck him to think to himself about his wrong decision. His homies break him out, and they're going to go on a trip to Vegas. This book follows Marcus and his friends on their way to Vegas. There's some interaction between him and this girl that he kind of likes, but she doesn't like him. But then there's another girl that he doesn't like, but she likes him, of course, because that's how high school is. And Rick Remender has a really good voice for that, and all those characters in here. But really just follows them going to Vegas, then finding drugs. Marcus takes some hard drugs, starts tripping out, and they're met with some danger at the end of this book, and that's where it ends. That's the most express way I can tell the synopsis of the story without giving too much away. But like I said in all my other reviews of Deadly Class, this is one of my favorite comics out right now. Image is really stepping their game up lately, and I'm loving some of these non-superhero comic runs that they got. I'm very highly impressed. Now they're getting superhero writers, not that they're solely superhero writers, but writers that have become famous doing superheroes like Rick Remender and Jason Aaron, and they're putting together some great pieces. So I'm going to give the writing on this a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to give the art on this a 9 out of 10. I continue to really like Wes Craig's art. It's normally not an art style I'm into, but with them being in the current date that they're in, back in the 80s, I think it's perfect. It's a beautiful, beautiful comic. All right, next up, we're hopping over to Marvel, and I have The Amazing Spider-Man #1. And I got a variant cover, probably not the cover I'm showing over there, so I'll show it right here. This is written by Dan Slott, and the artist on this is, I know his last name's Ramos, so give me a second. Humberto Ramos is the penciler on this. This is the first comic with Peter Parker back in his body. Really, this comic is just him being reintroduced to his life with memories he doesn't have. So there's Parker, he owns Parker Industries, and when Doc Ock took over his brain, he didn't have that. So he's basically being thrown into a life that he doesn't know and doesn't understand. And that's what this whole issue is about, all the way to the end, where Doc Ock's girlfriend, because Doc Ock was in Peter Parker's body, now that Peter Parker's back, has his brain back in his own body, this girl still thinks that she is his girlfriend. Anyway, it ends with her finding out that he's Spider-Man, and that's it. This comic is 90 pages with like 6 different stories in it, and even in the end, they put Inhuman #1 in there. For I don't know what the heck reason. Marvel's still trying to push Inhuman. I don't have too much to say about this book. The story with Electro is really cool. That's the second story. But the main Amazing Spider-Man story in the beginning, it's blah, blah, blah. I give the writing on it a 6 out of 10. And I give the art on it a 7 out of 10. The art's probably really not even that good. I'm just happy to see Spider-Man again. And I'm happy to see him swinging around and just back in the game. There's one really cool panel where, you know, the classic Spider-Man shot where he has his feet like tilted up and pointy. I can't give that a low score. I mean, come on, it's Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. He's back. But if this wasn't Spider-Man, you guys know I'd probably give it a lower score. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna give The Amazing Spider-Man #1. Really not impressed. Severely disappointed. I'll continue to read it for a short while. Marvel announced that there's going to be the Spider-Verse, which is a huge winter story arc with Spider-Man and every Spider-Man ever that's ever existed all in one story. I don't know if I can hang on to Spider-Man till then, but I will try my darnest. Anyway, it was cool to see Peter Parker back, and all the other stories were all right. But yep, disappointed. All right, trying to do this as express as possible. Next up, we have Uncanny Avengers Annual #1. This is written by Rick Remender with art by Paul Renaud. This doesn't have anything to do with Rick Remender's current Uncanny Avengers. He's written 19 issues now of one giant story arc, and it's just kind of nice to get a break in the action and just in this annual kind of break from the continuity he's having right now, and just writing a story with the Uncanny Avengers in it. This has Mojo having the idea of Avengers of the Supernatural, which has Ghost Rider and Man-Thing and Doctor Strange and a few other funny characters. This whole book is basically some satire on comic book writers and reviewers like me. Mojo is pitching a TV idea, and as he's doing that, it's a direct correlation to Rick Remender's Uncanny Avengers run, talking about how if it's too complex, people won't get it, which people have said about this book. That if you string them on for too long, they'll become unsatisfied and bored, which people have said about this book. And it's really kind of just a funny, like, hey guys, I know what I'm doing. I'm not confusing you on purpose. Like, here's the whole deal. It's all going to pay off in the end. And he's using a story to kind of talk to his readers and people reviewing his Uncanny Avengers run. I think it's brilliant. Even if you didn't dive deep into it and even think about that kind of stuff, and you just enjoyed the story, this is awesome. It was cool seeing Mojo and some of these spectacular Avengers. They had Blade in there also, kind of fight the Uncanny Avengers. It was fun. With all the different levels to it, because you could take it at face value, or you could take it for some of the stuff I talked about where Rick Remender was probably getting at a lot, probably talking to the audience at a deeper level, with all those kind of layers where you can read it for each one and enjoy it at each level. I think that's great writing, and that's why Rick Remender is one of the best in the business. So I'm going to give the writing on this a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to give the art on this a 7 out of 10. The art didn't impress me or blow me away. It was more the writing that really made me enjoy this book from front to finish. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, next up we have New Avengers, #17. This is written by Jonathan Hickman, and this has art by Rags Morales still. Guy that's been penciling New Avengers for a while now. This picks up with the Great Society, which is a team that consists of Boundless, Dr. Spectrum, the Sun God, the Rider, the Jovian, and the Norn. And if you don't know who those are, that's fine with me, because I didn't either. This is a group that Jonathan Hickman made up, and they are basically the Justice League in the Marvel Universe in a different alternate Earth dimension. This was a throwaway comic. I've been trying to stick up for New Avengers for a few issues now, because I liked Infinity and I liked the beginning of the Illuminati stuff, but this issue did not need to happen. The ending of this issue, I'm going to give it away. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't read this, it is the 5th, and I'm doing this way late, so you should have read all this crap already. Anyway, the ending of this book, The Great Society, basically is merging with the Incursion. They're merging with the current New Avengers Earth, our 616 Earth. The Incursion's happening, and now the New Avengers are going to have to fight this Great Society. This could have happened at the end of the last issue. The whole last issue was Namor and Black Panther observing these characters. This whole issue is once again Black Panther and Namor observing these characters. They could have, just in last issue, Jonathan Hickman could have had these characters meet up with the New Avengers for a fight. There was some more character buildup of the Great Society for us to even care about them in this book, but there's a bunch of dialogue between Black Panther and Namor that is just unnecessary. Didn't care for it. I'm kind of pissed right now about New Avengers. I really was liking this book, and haven't been enjoying it lately. So You guys can call me out for that if you want. If you're enjoying it, let me know in the comments why, because I don't think this issue was necessary. Anyways, with all that, I'm going to give the writing a 4 out of 10 on this, and I'm going to give the art probably a 6 out of 10. I think the art was better than the writing. The Great Society actually does look kind of cool, but Namor and Black Panther look terrible. They look horrible. Their faces, like if they were real people, how they're drawn, their faces would not be possible. They look utterly silly. I'm probably going to give the art a 5 out of 10 too. Or not 2, because I give the writing a 4, but I'm going to drop the score a little bit. Probably should drop it some more, but I'm so irritated right now just talking about this, and I haven't read it in 5 days, and it's starting to all come back to me, and I just want to get over with. That's it. Speaking of disappointing, this is our last book of the week. This is Hulk number 2. This is written by Mark Waid, and this has penciling by Mark Bagley. Now, Mark Waid wrote Original Sin, which I reviewed last week on comics that came out on April 23rd, and that was one of the best comics I've read probably ever. This, Mark Waid, Hulk number 2, is one of the worst comics I've ever read, ever. I don't know how a writer can write the best comic and then also write Daredevil, which is my second favorite run out right now, and then write this trash in Hulk number 2. If you love this comic, please in the comments convince me why you enjoyed this. I would love to hear why. There could be something I'm not catching on to. I didn't read the whole Indestructible Hulk run. I read 8 or 1 through like whenever Agent of Time started, maybe like 13 or something. I don't even remember. But I dropped it because it got bad. Well, I picked up Hulk number 1 and now number 2 when they relaunched it, and it's still bad. On the cover, it has the Abomination because the Abomination's back to fight Bruce Banner. We found out at the end of issue number 1 that Bruce Banner is basically he had damage to his brain and now he's not smart. He can't even he's learning to spell and do math again. He's not a genius anymore. Don't really care about this story. It dragged around. There's nothing intriguing. I think the art is abysmal at best, and it's another comic by Marvel I'm just not liking. I'm not going to continue this run. If number 3, number 4, and the future comics come out and they end up being good, please refer them to me again in the comments. But from going forward, I'm dropping this current Hulk run. I'm going to give the writing on this a 3 out of 10. And I'm going to give the art on this a 2 out of 10. I'm going to go donate this comic. If you're somebody that isn't reading Hulk and you would like to read it, it came with a digital comic. Hit me up in the comments and ask for a first person to ask for a digital copy code. I'll be sure to send you a message and you can read it for yourself if you don't currently have it. Make your own opinions. All right, that's it for all the new comics this week. Since it is after the first Saturday in May, I do have some free comic book day comics. I ended up getting like 15, but these are just 3 worth mentioning. I'm not going to review them, but we got Guardians of the Galaxy free comic book day. This is the issue where Venom is introduced to the Guardians. Super disappointing with how they did it. Wasn't very good at all. They should have had Brian Michael Bendis actually do this in the Guardians of the Galaxy run. I don't think this was the right way to do it. The comic is okay, but it's still kind of hodgepodge how Venom actually joins. Flash Thompson actually joins the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's talked into it by Tony Stark, and it's whatever. Another free comic book day issue, which was awesome, was a Rocket Raccoon. I mean, it wasn't that good, but for a free comic book day issue, it was pretty fun. So, yeah, actually, I guess I don't have too much to say about that, but this is one of my faves of free comic book day. And the last one is Futures and number 0 from the New 52 DC. This is going to be one of DC's huge events for the year, and this is kind of the prequel introduction to that story arc. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, everybody, that is the end of my reviews for the week. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you like my video, if you like the stable stash. I would love to interact with you guys. Anything you agreed with or disagreed with what I said, just leave some comments below. I would love to have a conversation about things I said that were wrong, stupid comments that I made, or things that you loved that I said or that you agree with. I'd love to interact with all you guys. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for myself. I read all these comics. I'm making this show to hopefully help guide people. If you trust my opinion on comics that you should buy so you don't have to waste money like I did buying the Hulk. That's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, I guess that's it. Until next time, I'll make sure that I will get my comic reviews up sooner than 5 days after comics come out. But hopefully you guys understand. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.